for being here. We've got a fantastic panel for you today. We're going to talk a little bit about the ever-blurring world between physical and digital experiences. Everyone's talking about that whole omni-channel thing. We've got three really innovative companies that are doing just that, and they're going to share with you some of their tricks of the trade and how they're accomplishing exactly that. So we'll bring three folks up. First, Jason McMahon, Director, E-commerce Development Operations at Domino's. There he is. Maria DeFonte, Senior Manager, Digital Analytics at Microsoft. And Art Brodeur, VP, Digital Data Operations at Beachbody. So welcome, guys. Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it very much. So we're going to talk about digital, physical, omni-channel, customer centricity, and any other buzzword you'd like to throw in there. Jason, I'd like to first just mention that Joe's presentation was great earlier from Forrester, but I disagree on one point. I believe when he was in college and eating all that pizza, that was not disgusting, that was delicious. So I just want to clear that up before we get started. So first question for you guys. The lines between digital and physical have blurred. What behaviors are you seeing from today's customers? Art, let's start with you.
Well, at Beachbody, we see it less as a blurring and more of a migration. Migration of our existing customer base who are used to consuming our product with DVDs and getting them to use the streaming service. Mm-hmm. And then reaching out to new digital natives, which is our new addressable market.
Sure. Started in DR, direct response. It was television, right. Call center.
Right.
All of a sudden, the world is so measurable.
Right. We had this offline business where people would buy our DVDs, and we never knew, even if they opened the box. Then we started a streaming service, and now we have a feedback loop. We know how they're consuming the product. And very soon, with wearables, we'll have an ongoing dialogue with our users. We'll know how they're consuming it, and we'll know how they're feeling about consuming it.
Mm. And maybe you can start sharing data with Domino's about who's overeating and needs some Beachbody, right? That's a great idea. So, Jason, tell me a little bit about the same. So the blurring of the lines, obviously starting with a traditional pizzeria. You went and picked up your pizza, and that was pretty much the end of your dialogue with that customer, maybe a mailer. Boy, we saw some cool stuff today during the presentation.
Yeah,
so tell me a little bit about that.
So what we're seeing is those lines, I don't even look at it as two separate worlds anymore. And I don't think customers are looking at it as a digital world and a physical world. With apps like Uber and Amazon, that's really becoming the customer expectation now. Mm-hmm. So what we've been doing with Domino's is we took traditional phone ordering. You'd call up, place your order on the phone, hope they got it right. 30, 40 minutes later, pizza shows up. That's it. And there's this big gap. So introduced online ordering. That experience got a little bit better. You knew what you wanted. Still 30 to 40 minutes, pizza shows up, and that's it. So I think the huge thing for us was the pizza tracker. And now all of a sudden you've got something that takes that ordering, and now you see where it's at. You've got some connection to the store. You see who's making your pizza. You know when it's in the oven. You know when the driver leaves. That's that. So lately we've been taking this, and my kids will sit and watch that tracker religiously. Most of us, we order, we don't want to sit in front of the computer or phone, put phone in our pocket. Now we've got other things that we can do to keep that experience going. So we can send push notifications and say, okay, now your driver's leaving, or on your TV set, where's your pizza at? And so we really kind of tie that experience together. There's still this gap when the driver leaves, and so now one of the things we're doing is in San Diego, we've got GPS driver tracking. So not only do you see when the pizza left, you can see when he's pulling into your neighborhood. And so you say, all right, he's pulling in up to your house, so you can get the dishes ready and get your money set and go to the door. So it's kind of tying that whole end-to-end experience together. And I don't think the user's thinking about it as two separate things. It's really all part of the same experience.
It's an intense amount of information about your pizza being delivered.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
It's a lot going on.
Absolutely.
You can really get ready for it. So, Maria, and by the way, three very different companies, and that's the whole point of today, is that we're all facing the same challenges. No matter what you're selling, you've got customers, you've got data. What are you going to do next? So, Maria, I posed the same question to you.
So we address a lot of audiences, right? We have B2C consumers, you have the small, medium businesses. And for the ones that we implemented Tealium on is really for the partners and the developers. So what we're noticing is that developers are coming to our site, they're trying to get information on how to develop their apps, what services do they need to use. So are they clicking on the dev chat? Are they going to the one-to-ones? Are they going to the webinars, to the events, to try and get some help? And then do we ever see them publish their apps? So the focus that we're trying to do with Tealium is to track their entire journey from the beginning that they want to start to develop an app to hopefully to the successful point where they can publish their apps.
And one of the things I know we helped you with, most tools that work within the B2B realm, let's call them, are really focused on known visitors, meaning self-identified, here's my name and my address, but all of that anonymous browsing behavior is highly actionable if you can get it into a first-party state. I know that was a big part of looking at behaviors across different brands.
Exactly, yeah. And I don't know if we'll state it later, but one of the first things we did with Tealium, and I think what they highlighted for us that we didn't know before, was that we had a huge unknown percentage. And I think, in the earlier session today, we talked about the unknown to known. And we have a ton of best-of-breed tools that will market to the known and will report on the known. So we have Marketo, the Sitecores, the Allocatias, all out there. But when Tealium came on site and we did the implementation, we found that 97% of the people coming to our site never made themselves known. You never logged in with your Microsoft Live ID. You didn't, come in with a Marketo cookie or an ID. So here we are focusing on the 3% that are known. And here's the 97% that we're just leaving on the table. So I think with that Tealium POC, we really noticed that we need to really know what we can do to help nurture this 97% and bring it down.
Great, thanks. So here's a really open-ended question for you guys. Share with us how your business has evolved. So Jason, let's start with you on this one.
Sure, so our business evolved quite a bit. So late 60s, started as a single pizzeria, grew thousands of stores throughout the 80s and 90s. Big evolution recently was in around 2008. Company was slumping a little bit, and we did two things. One was we had the pizza turnaround campaign, and so went out and aired commercials saying, look, our pizza sucks, our recipes aren't good, nobody likes our food. Right. The other thing that we did was start this digital transformation. Mm-hmm. So one of the huge things we did was bring online ordering in-house. All the development of our website and our apps was brought in-house. Allowed us to start moving faster, grow all the digital channels, to get to the spot where we are digitally today, to where 60% of our sales are coming through digital channels, giving us that wealth of data and allowing us to continue to grow. So now we look at ourselves as an e-commerce company that happens to sell pizza, as opposed to just a pizza company.
Sure. Yeah, and digital transformation, I'm sure, is top of mind for most of us here. What that means to each of us and our companies and our brands. Data being your greatest competitive advantage, digital transformation has to be at the forefront of that, and you guys have done an epic job of that. Whatever happened to Little Caesars? Remember those guys? You just crushed them. They're just gone.
They're doing all right too.
That was not delicious pizza. It was not good. Maria, how about you? Microsoft evolving. You guys have been around a long, long time.
Yeah. And to fast forward, it started off as just software at first, and then eventually went to devices. We focused on devices. But now with Satya coming on as CEO, he realized that we really need to partner better with our Microsoft partners or people who want to become partners, because they're trying to help their clients go to the cloud and do that whole digital transformation. It now becomes our responsibility to help that partner learn as much as they can in order to push them over to that edge. And that's where this whole Tealium thing comes into play, is how can we help and partner better with them, get the information to them, and if we're falling somewhere, how can we address that?
Great. Art?
We talked about Beachbody originally selling DVDs, and actually we go further back, VHS tapes. And as the VHS
I don't know. What are those? What's a VHS?
As that started to die, ironically, what people did when they bought their first DVD player, they took their old VHS player and put it in their utility rooms, their garages, which is where they would exercise. Mm. And so we had the added benefit where it wasn't this big culture shock.
Right.
After the DVD started slowing down, we went into multi-level marketing, where we're selling nutrition, we're selling shakes.
Yep.
And that became a pretty profitable business for us. And now the DVD business, the direct response business, is coming to an end, And we had the foresight to build out a streaming service. And people think of us almost like the Netflix of fitness, but we like to think of it as the Amazon Prime of fitness. We have a streaming service like Amazon Prime,
Sure.
and we sell products. And we may sell other people's products eventually, but we think the future is huge in that space.
And you guys also went through digital transformation as well. You have an Apple TV app that can stream directly from that. So you're trying to get digital experiences wherever those eyeballs are, muscles are, or lack of muscles.
Right. Think of it when I talked about an ongoing dialogue. Our users don't exercise 24/7, but we want them to realize we'll be there when they do exercise. We'll be there waiting for them and guiding them on their journey to wellness and happiness.
Maybe even have Alexa tell them it's time to work out.
Right.
You just ordered pizza from me, so you should probably
Right.
turn your Beachbody streaming service on.
But seriously, we should be telling them, hey, you're working out too hard. Now is the time to take a day off. The programs we have rest periods in there. P90X, you don't do it right all the time. And so maybe we remind them, hey, take it easy. Maybe someone hasn't exercised and they're supposed to. We may send them a reminder saying, hey, what's happening? Did you get hurt? Are you taking a break? We just want to know what you're doing and help you on your way.
Right. P90X, that's a painful workout. It works though. I think for me it's about P19X. That's about as far as I can get. It's pretty intense. So engaging with customers has become a really big priority, right? I mean, we have this awesome opportunity to build a brilliant customer experience because of data, because of our ability to bridge data sets from online and offline experiences and to use it, not to let it sit and die in some data warehouse anymore. We can make data actionable. So how has this caused your thinking and approach to change in terms of your relationship with your customers? Jason, start with you.
I think it's part of the overall relationship that starts with messaging to the customers, whether it's emails or push, using that kind of data to drive the people in the right channels. Once you start that engagement, then some of it goes back to Matt's keynote about the storytelling and making the ordering fun and really feeling that back and forth relationship with the customer. So one example was with when we introduced voice ordering and not just having a static computer asking for the order, but giving it a personality. We gave him a name, Dom, and Dom can tell jokes, and Dom has some Easter eggs and things like that make the journey for the customer fun and engaging. Rather than just having the pizza tracker, we have themes that people can pick from and play different music or sound effects. And some people like the rock and roll theme, and some people like the romance theme. Those things aren't necessarily things that speed up the ordering process, but they're things that make it more engaging for customers, and it makes them feel as a part of the brand and allows us to have that back and forth, and it makes people really passionate about the company and the brand.
Yeah, and you're also getting into a household, which is a whole part of their culture, their family, and so it's a really unique opportunity to honor that privilege.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody has stories. Oh, my kids love this, or I order for my folks, or everybody has stories about their personal experiences with it.
Very cool.
Nice to hear.
Art, how about you? So the customer number one, obviously you've got an amazing amount of data happening now about this relationship you have. My cousin's a reseller of yours, by the way. She sells all the products. She's nuts about your brand. She was very excited that I was talking with you today. She says to send her regards. You don't know who she is, but regardless.
As long as she keeps selling.
That's right, yeah, what do you care?
Right.
So how's it changed? What are you guys thinking? What's happening today and tomorrow, and how are you going to leverage all this data?
Well, I think the first part is, Jerry, my boss, as he mentioned earlier today, you have to be polite and courteous, right? And we're very serious about that. If you think about it, and it starts with not just how do we interact with the customer, but how does the company interact with each other? So we're taking this rich offline data, merging it with our digital data, and we use Tealium for that, to manage that. And what happens is the marketing group, the finance group, the product group, QA, they feel comfortable now that we're all talking the same language. And it's not just about, wow, we have the capability to reach out to our consumer in this ongoing dialogue, but let's not overdo it. Let's not just bombard them with emails. Let's send them notes and when we think they want to hear from us. You haven't been exercising in a week. Is there something going on?
Sure.
We're also tailoring it to geography. We bring in weather data. So if there's a blizzard coming on the East Coast, we may target the people on the East Coast and say, hey, instead of going to the supermarket and stocking up on, beer and pretzels, why don't you work out? And so we feel we can customize our messaging and target those users in ways they're going to find super beneficial.
Sure, and it's a lot of data you have about them, so I'm sure you have to be really careful from a governance perspective and just that dialogue, right? Just honoring the fact that they know that you're gathering data about them.
Yes.
Especially with streaming, right? Because there is the concept of opting out in streaming data doesn't quite exist yet today. It's kind of a implied thing, right?
Right.
You're gonna track everything that's happening. Are you guys building out governance around the way that you'll manage that data differently?
That's the next frontier. Because just with wearables, we'll be rolling out some products where, as you're working out, you'll be able to see your workout on the TV.
Cool.
Because you're on an OTT device, a smart box. And, and I think that's going to be a little jarring to people when they see their heart rate. And they'll know, hey, you're working too hard, or you're not working hard enough. And you'll be able to exercise against yourself. If you're on the second round of P90X, or you want to exercise with a friend who's on the East Coast and you're on the West Coast, you can do it side by side and see each other's vitals.
Nothing more inspirational than seeing your out-of-shape self working out. keeps you going past that breaking point, right?
Yeah.
Maria, how about you? The customer's number one. You guys are now collecting all this great first-party data. How are you guys going to change the relationship with your customers?
Well, I really think it's just managing customer expectations at this point. I think we've all come to know that we want our information now, and if we don't get it now, or 8 seconds, if we don't get it in 8 seconds, we're going to move on to something else. So we know there's other competitors out there that can do it quicker, faster, and better than we can. So we want to make sure that if you come to the site and you're a developer, you need to find that information quickly. You need to get access to the developers who can do the chats for you. But one of the things that we do see is that as people traverse the different websites, you think of Microsoft as one corporation, but it's really a bunch of business groups with different marketing teams, different product teams, different tools. They're all using different data sources. So how, as a customer, are you going to come to our website and come through those different properties, and we know that you're the same visitor coming through all of that? And that's where I think the data, Mike Anderson said it best, it's all about the data and all about stitching that visitor going through all those different properties. Because if you're in Office, you're only looking at people coming directly to Office. But if I'm the small medium business portal over here and I'm nurturing you here, I want to get credit for someone converting on the Office site. So we're going out there, we're trying to conquer one business group at a time, showing the influence that nurturing on different properties is actually helping their site as well. So, but to the customer, I think that's what it's really important. We need to overcome our own challenges as an organization to make it seamless to the customer that he's not traversing 10 different business groups with 10 different marketing teams.
And that was no simple feat. You are, as Jeff Lunsford would say, a true maverick. Microsoft is a big, crazy company with lots of different stakeholders, and you were able to communicate that through all the different business units that this will provide value for us as a company to know one human being traversing different business units and how that plays into one another from an attribution perspective and engagement.
Right. I think one of the things I have in our house, because I have 2 teenage boys, is that talk doesn't cook rice. You can talk about how rice is going to taste and how good it's going to be, but if the boys don't get their butts off the couch and turn on the rice cooker, nothing's happening. So we have vendors coming in and doing the talk and all of that stuff. But I think what was really great about Tealium coming in is we just looked at something small. What could we do? What could we implement? And now we're letting that data tell the story to the other business groups. And it's like, it's not just talk. It's actually like put it in paper, put that storyboard together, and then tell your story. But the data's doing all of that for us.
Great. So digital transformation can't happen without data, obviously. So how are you guys going about collecting and harnessing data, and where do you guys see gaps in being able to get access to data in a timely fashion? Maria, let's start with you. You're on a roll.
All right. So this is where I start salivating, right? So I'm going to wipe myself. There's this, I don't know if you guys know, but did Mike talk about it?
Got your pizza tracker going?
I know.
Data tracker?
Yeah.
I mean,
They have a product called EventDB, and we started off with the POC with Audience Stream and Tealium IQ, and we were able to create the badges. We know how to retarget, so that was extremely beneficial to show like what we can do with the journey, the customer journey, and optimizing that. But the data, we finally got the EventDB license, and it is amazing. Each time that we look at it, I just start to salivate, because then you just think about all the things you can do with it. And we have Azure ML, so we should eat our own dog food and push that all data through the ML, build the models, and then let the data tell us the story, the attribution story. We've always been chasing that thing. I've never been able to answer the executive question of, if I had X number of dollars to spend on all of my marketing channels, where do I spend it and how much do I need to allocate to it? And what we've had in the past was first touch, last touch, linear attribution, but it was a marketer-driven attribution choice. Now we have the ability with the EventDB data, with knowing their entry points, knowing all the different touch points. They touched Marketo, they had a Blue Kai tag, they had this. We can all bring that down, stitch it together, and then run it through an ML model. Now we can come out to the executive and say, you need to allocate 33% of your budget to page, and then do 46% to Marketo. But we wanted to show how they influence each other, not pick one over the other, but actually what is the optimal mix of your spend to your marketing channels.
Very cool. So attribution, basically you're using Tealium to create attribution data and modeling. And the neat thing is that with Tealium IQ, the piping is already there.
It's there, yeah.
You're just simply storing and then analyzing and taking action.
Correct.
Very cool. Jason, same question to you. Collecting data, you've got call center data, you've got in-store data, you've got web data, app data, Alexa data, a lot of data.
Yep, a lot of data and a lot of different people that want access to the data and are doing different things with the data and need the data fast too. So one of the challenges that we had pre-Tealium was that data analytics was maybe an afterthought. We'd implement a feature on the website, then maybe months later the analytics team would come in and want to make changes, with slow turnaround time, release deployments. We'd get something wrong, it would be another follow-up release. And so we weren't able to move as quickly as we wanted to. So one of the things that's really allowed us to leverage all of this data is a really tight partnership. We've got to be really close partners with our data warehouse team and our strategy and insights team and our digital experience team and operations. So even though organizationally they may report separately, they really are part of the same team, and we treat data and analytics as a first-class citizen. So any new feature that's being implemented, we're making sure that how are we going to capture the data? What kinds of questions are you going to ask? Working as a team to make sure that we can answer those questions ahead of time. We also have international markets, and so international markets might have different tools that they want to use or completely different questions than in the US. And it's the same website. Well, Tealium allows us to let them configure it to say, oh, you want to collect your analytics in Google Analytics or Adobe or whoever you want. You guys can do that. We don't have to have this turnaround time. So it's really accelerated our ability to partner with those different groups and really make it one cohesive team.
And every time you launch a new way to order a pizza, you have to think about data collection. So that when that 11th grade idea comes up, you have to think about collection and correlation, so it all comes down to a single place. What system do you use to centralize all of these different data points and sources that are coming in?
We use a lot of different data sources. We do have a data warehouse team that does a lot of custom reports. A lot of it is still custom reporting and tying these things together through multiple partners. But through our online channels, Tealium allows us to collect all of that data in a unified spot and then feed those off to the different partners.
We do have an Alexa integration now too. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Same for you, Art. Lots of data, and it's changing rapidly.
It's changing, and the delivery systems of our product is changing, obviously. And when it was just a DVD, was it stamped properly, and we send it out the door? So one of the challenges my team is facing, I'm kind of in the middle between the product guys and the business guys. The product guys say, we're only going to put a limited amount of SDKs, say, in our iOS app. Mm-hmm. The business guys, hey, I got about 7 of them I want in there. So one of the solutions we use is the cloud-based delivery.
Oh.
So we just signed the deal. We'll probably be rolling that out over the next couple weeks. And basically what that allows us to do is manage those SDKs up in the cloud.
So collect once, distribute many times.
Absolutely. And so I'm a hero to the marketing guys because how many SDKs do you want? And I'm a hero to the product guys, believe me, because they don't want to put any SDKs in their apps, whether it's iOS or Android.
You're a hero. You're a real hero. And so what's the impact of that? Now you're modernizing your approach to collecting and distributing data. In your organization, is that breaking down organizational silos and allowing people to communicate better?
Oh, yeah. As we roll out the streaming service, you know, that we're all, as a company, always hesitant to really send money to drive people into that streaming service. They would rather put the marketing money into infomercials. And as the infomercial business started dying, they weren't so keen on just moving that marketing spend on. So we had to earn that. And the way we earned it is to show them you are going to have way more richer information on your spend. And so they realized that when we put spend money for Facebook, for social media spend, they know exactly what the conversion rate is, right? Into the funnel and at the other end. So they'll know, hey, your job to the marketing people isn't just driving people into the funnel, it's driving the right people.
Yeah.
And now we're holding them more accountable, and they're holding the product guys more accountable. Where is it falling out in the funnel?
And that transformation helped impact your business. You pull away from the pack. Similar to Domino's, Total Gym can keep hiring Chuck Norris all they want, but you've got the data, and you're building a relationship with your customer.
Right. I'm not afraid of Chuck Norris.
I would.
Well, maybe a little.
I've got a story for you. Be careful, he's scary. So all these advances you guys are making, have you noticed an actual impact on the relationship with your customer? You know, this can be quantitative, qualitative. What's the impact been overall? So Maria, let's start with you.
So for just the POC that we did just on the small group, we did notice that we were able to reduce the number of unknown. Because we have the Sitecore CMS tool that can nurture them real time. We also have a couple of other avenues that once we knew who they were, we already started putting the content out there. But engagement, I think, was probably the biggest improvement, was customer engagement. You know, when people search for something and they come to the site and they immediately come off, we don't know if anything was successful or not. So we wanted to make sure that whatever pieces were going out there, the articles that they were reading, that they stayed engaged and stayed continuously engaged, hopefully to get them to the next milestone.
And Art, obviously you've got an opportunity to build brand advocates with your products, right?
Yes,
including my cousin that we just talked about,
right?
Remember? So, and they use social channels and they use their social networks to talk about and amplify your brand out there. So what are you noticing in terms of the relationship that you're building?
Well, think of it like we have different types of customers. We have the people who buy the programs, who use the streaming service. But we also have another important customer set, and that's what we call our coaches. Those are the people in the multi-level marketing business who sell our product, who sell our Shakeology. They're our customers. And as they start to realize, wow, through a streaming service, I can reach more potential consumers of Shakeology, they're a lot happier. We're making them more money so they can make us more money.
Sure.
And they're just now starting to see that with the streaming service.
I have a closet full of Shakeology. My cousin's an excellent salesperson. Thank you very much. And Jason, obviously, it's a totally new world for you guys, right? I mean, you're really having an intimate dialogue now with your customer through all these 10 different ways to order a pizza. Have you noticed an impact?
Overall, I mean, coming from the e-commerce side, I like to attribute that to our stock price, but I'm sure there's plenty of other reasons. Absolutely, everything that we can measure shows that online users have a higher satisfaction than people calling on the phone. When you look at it from an e-commerce side, in terms of traffic and ticket and conversion, we're able to use all of this data to bump all of those things up so that we can drive lots of traffic to these channels. Through a rigorous A/B testing program, we can drive higher ticket and higher conversion. And then we also have another set of customers, which is our franchisees and the store owners. So we are able to leverage this for them and help them to drive what products they can use or should order more of, or if there's products that are ready to expire, can we do things to bump those up on the website to help sell more of those products? Can we leverage operational data to improve efficiency in the store through getting the orders in faster. With our GPS tracking program in San Diego, there's salivating over the amount of data that we can have there, because then we can literally say from the second that you placed the order, when was it in the make line, when did it go into the oven, when did the driver show up at the door, how long were they at the door. So all of those things really help to improve the experience for the customers. They help to improve efficiency in the stores and keep people coming back.
More pizza. Okay, last question, guys. This is the bonus round. Each of you are building incredible experiences. We've just talked about them. And so what's next? What does the future look like for you guys? Jason, we'll stick with you on this one.
Part of it is I have no idea. A couple of years ago, we started building a driver app that was going to be for the drivers, and it ended up turning into a car. We built a car with an oven in the car, and it became our DXP car. Who knows where it's going is part of it. But I think that our conversational commerce, things like Alexa and Microsoft's tools and Google Home are really interesting. Conversational commerce and putting that in the living room and making it easy to have a conversation with some digital assistants is really interesting. Some of our franchisees in some other markets have done some interesting things with drones and different methods of delivery. Autonomous vehicles is something that's really interesting. I think leveraging the GPS technologies is something that's also a big future opportunity for us.
And what about pizza innovation? What kind of evil concoction is coming from you guys that I'm going to buy on Super Bowl?
I wouldn't have a job to go back to if
You'd have to kill me, right?
Good stuff.
Great. Maria, what's next? You've got an incredible opportunity now. You're understanding your customers, both known and unknown, and how they're engaging cross business unit. What comes next?
I think for selfish reasons, we want to conquer other business groups within Microsoft. If you think about it, there's Xbox, there's the Cortana group, there's the Bing group. And what we've noticed in our search is that our people are doing what we call conversational searches, right? Phrases. It's not keywords anymore. They're actually asking the question, how do I solve this problem or something? So we really want to make sure that we're able to, could we harness that data, for the benefit of the customer? Like we mentioned in the beginning, our challenge is we're so fragmented with different business groups. To the customer, we need to be seamless. So if you're bouncing from one site to another site and it breaks, your customer experience just broke. So I think we need to overcome that challenge first. But when you do think about all the things you can do with the Cortana, the Xbox, the Bing data, and bringing that all in to get that unified customer view, it's great and exciting. It's also scary at the same time, because there is that fine line between how much is too much. So we want to be very cognizant of that.
Great. So thank you very much, all three of you, for being part of our panel today. And why don't you join me in giving these guys a round of applause for being here.